today we're going to talk about the year-end review of the VMS 300 from De Laval. I will tell you my likes and dislikes. We are going to start with the gate. A huge like. And the sort gate here is what it does. It sorts the cows whether they have milking permission or they don't. If they do, they end up in this pen. If they don't, they end up here where I'm standing. And what this does, it allows you to never really milk any cows that don't have permission in the robot, essentially making your robot more efficient. Thus, being able to milk more cows. A big part is this gate right here, because we are not having any, well, I shouldn't say any, we end up with I think like 3/4 of a cow a day in rejects, because once in a while somebody does sneak past this gate. So, but this, they call this system a modified guided flow system, and the reason it's called modified guided is because we don't have the true guided, where you would have a true feed lane without stalls. So that's why it's modified guided. But essentially they can go through the gate this way, but they can't come back. And there's another gate just like this one on the other end of the barn. And there's a water cup here, and there's one on the other end of the barn. So essentially with the modified guided flow, it's like having stations. They can come in here, they have the ability to drink water, eat. They go here, they have the ability to eat and lay down. They go through, they have the ability to drink water and lay down and go around. They are never deprived of anything. It is still their choice to walk around the barn to what station they want to be at. Where in free flow, you won't have this gate, and the cows can essentially do whatever they want, but there won't be that gate to sort them. And like I said, with not having that gate, then you end up with a lot more cows in the robot that don't have permission to get milked, thus making your robot less efficient. And at some point we will get to how many cows we actually do milk, but I will wait till later to tell you that. But because of this system here, I feel we can milk a lot more cows. So next I think we're going to go to the robot room and we will talk about some likes and dislikes about the robot. But as far as the gate, I love it. I wouldn't milk cows with the robot any other way. It's worked really well. So to the robot room. All right, we made it to the robot room. So now we can talk about the things I do and do not like about the robot. I really don't have too many bad things to say about it. I really like the way it milks cows. I think it does a really good job. The only problem I do have with it is there are some software updates that hopefully De Laval will come out after I talk to them. And the biggest one is, and we're probably not going to have a cow that does it, but once in a while if you have a really wild cow in here, it will end up accidentally putting it on the wrong quarter. I like to call it, it crisscrosses the quarters. And so when it does that, then the robot doesn't realize that it did it, and then it gets confused. And sometimes you end up with an incomplete with the cow because of it. And when I say incomplete, an incomplete for the robot is if that quarter does not reach 65% of its expected yield for whatever reason, it will give it an incomplete. And so hopefully they will come out with an update at some point so that the robot, because it knows it can't find the tit when it crisscrosses it, so hopefully at some point they will come out with some software so that it'll identify and change. I guess realistically that is the only thing so far that I've noticed that really irritates me about the robot, and it only happens with really kicky cows. And it doesn't happen very often, but it affects with my incomplete. And I like to see 0, which is really unrealistic, but that's not the point. Other than that, the way it milks cows and everything about it, I really enjoy. It's been very good as far as, what's the word we're looking for? Reliable. There we go. It's been extremely reliable for us so far. Haven't really had any issues whatsoever. See, here's a cow that snuck in that wasn't supposed to. So you get to see the reject of the day. Now just imagine if you had 30 to 40 of them doing that in a day. Look at how much time you would waste. And then we're in here yelling, so the next cow isn't gonna really wanna come in. I guess she did. But that's what I'm talking about. By having that gate and making them go around the barn a certain way and not being free flow, it eliminates the majority of that. But like I said, once in a while, one still bulldozes their way through the gate and then they end up in here. But I wasn't counting the seconds it was taking, but you add that up over 40 cows in a day, or whatever it is, the standard, you know, on free throw, they want to see so many rejections to ensure that the cows are going around. All right, we made it to the office, and I'll show you a little bit of the computer end of it now. And I guess it's, once I learn it, I've so far liked everything on the computer, and it's fairly easy friendly, even for a computer nerd like me. All right. So essentially this is your main overview page that I look at the most. It tells you the number of cows, it tells you how many cows have the ability to milk, how many are overdue, and how many that don't even have permission to milk. This tracks your 24-hour yield. It's down a little bit right now because the milkman just came, and it's based off of time. This here tracks your pellet consumption in the robot. We are slowly adjusting it to be more efficient because, well, I just don't like to pay for pellets. Here, this line down here, it tracks, this number here will track our average stall time. Essentially, the stall time equates to how long each cow spends in the robot. This is the amount of time the cows go around the barn, or essentially gate passes, and the robot counts as a gate pass. So right now we are at a pretty much 2.5 average. So you have to take 2.5 off this so that it would get you at what, 13? So the average right now is the cows are going around the barn 13 times a day. And this is just your average yield per minute. Over here is your average milkings per day, the 2.47. This here is the incompletes. Right now it's at 0. I like to see it there all the time. It doesn't always happen. And this right here is your average yield per cow. So we're averaging 32 pounds per cow. Over here, it tracks all of your animals you have in your herd, dry cows, heifers, and cows in the barn, with a total number there. And here it tracks your percentage of pregnant cows, percentage of pregnant heifers, percentage of heifers to cows, essentially replacements, and then your average days in milk. I shouldn't show you guys that because, well, it's high, but it works for us, so I don't care. Now the next page I really like to look at, and we actually have some whatever, there we're to the top, is essentially tracking your mastitis or somatic cell. This page does a really good job at it. Here they call it the MDI. It's pretty much a counter to say how high it is. A 1 to 1.2 is about as low as it goes. You have like a 0.99, and so once you start getting into these numbers, these are cows with higher somatic cell. Once you get to like a 2, that means she's probably over 1 million and you should do something about it. And then it even individually tracks where it's coming from. So like this cow here, she's got a 1.5 for an MDI, and it's pretty much all in the right rear. So a person has to pay attention to that. If it gets a little higher, it's a cow we'll have to pull out and treat because her right rear. And it tracks it. And essentially it's just counting or tracking the conductivity of the cow. See, we can move over here, and it's got the conductivity. So here you see that her average is right around a 5, but her right rear has spiked to a 6. And every cow has a little bit different averages, but you just kind of have to follow that. Okay, so that's that page. And another page we really like to look at is here. Essentially, it just tells you where the cows are, who's in the pen, how much concentrate they've been eating, and essentially so forth and so forth. Now, there are other things we can look at too. Like here, I will find the systems, I can't say it. Anyways, this is pretty much the data for the robot. So here it tracks the milkings. So in the last 7 days, we're at 199.29. Yesterday we averaged or had 202. In the last month we were averaging 205.73, and this is the totals milkings in the last 30 days. This is the refusal counter I was talking about. And in the last 30 days we're averaging 0.97. So I lied to you, it's a little higher. And then it's got cleanings, kickoffs, all sorts of stuff to follow. I track it, so yeah. There is a bunch of other information. Essentially, you can get all the information you possibly want on the computer, and you can do it from anywhere remotely. Like a couple weeks ago, I went to Colorado and I ran the computer from my phone because you can remotely log in and do whatever you want, and it's mind-blowing to me. Whatever. I just think it's absolutely crazy. But essentially, any information that you want is pretty much on this computer, and the best thing about it is, since I am such a computer nerd, I just call Genix and talk to somebody, and I tell them what I want, and they set up pages and put it on my star right here, my favorite. So whatever I am interested in, they make for me, which is really nice. And so now the big question everybody wants to know, does the robot milk 80 cows? The answer is yes. I'm pretty sure you guys all figured that out by now. We've been at 80 multiple times for multiple months. Like I said, right now we're only at 78. We've been as high as 82. And it's not because the robot can't handle the 82. We just have ran out of cows due to the startup. We had to get rid of some that we didn't necessarily want to, and now it's the trickle effect of supply and demand is we don't have enough cows to fill the demand of the robot, essentially. But it milks 80 cows. After having the robot, I would never want to milk cows another way. And now we owe you a joke.
Why can't Elsa have a balloon?
Why?
Because she'll let it go.
I hope you guys enjoyed that joke from my child. I almost forgot the most important part of why we can push 80 cows. And here it is. We milk our fresh and treated cows over here and not in the robot. You have to stop and wash the robot after every treated cow. Now, before we had this area here set up, we ran them through all in a group, and so then it only had to wash once after they were all done. That you can do, but Milkman Day, you can't possibly time it just right every time that you are magically done milking all your fresh and treated cows right before the milkman comes, so you had to wash. So we put this in here. Essentially, it's a homemade hoof trimming chute that we mostly use now for milking cows.
We average about 2 to 3 fresh or treated cows all the time. Clearly, sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. But now imagine that math if you let them run in the free stall. So you would literally, each cow that was running in the free stalls, that is getting milked 2.5 times a day, would cost you 45 minutes per cow. Now that's a lot of time that you are not putting milk in the tank, and that is why we
milk them here.
I can't believe I almost forgot that important information. I apologize. And also, I know we didn't get there, so I'm just gonna throw it out there just so that you guys Forget it. Let's go into wire vision. We're not going to, but I know you guys would be upset if you didn't hear it at least once in every episode. So if anybody ever has any questions about something they would like to know more about, I understand it's quick, just fly through overview, just comment however you comment, and I will respond to it and let you know my opinion of it anyways. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to have a glass of milk and eat some cheese, please, and have a good one.